So we have a couple of weeks of retreat here at the Vihara, and I guess what comes up today is just how really, really important it is to stop, sometimes, and still. It doesn't have to be you don't have to take days, even though it's great if you can, but to attune your awareness, our awareness, to that which is not constantly recreating itself. There's that's how the world is. It's constantly creating. It's a very, very creative place. It's constantly creating, and things are arising and being and passing away all the time. Beautiful things, inspiring things, horrible things, disturbing things. It's all on it goes. And we have to obviously be able to attend to the world in a way that is skillful as best we can. But we also need to be able to attend to the silence and the stillness that is also here. It's always here, but we miss it because of the constant push and pull of everything. And our minds often are very attuned to what's new and sensational and attractive, whether it's attractive because we like it or because we don't like it. Both things seem to attract quite strongly our attention. And then there's the space and the stillness that is always here. So every sound arises out of silence and is a sound, and then it disappears back into silence again. The silence is like I don't want to say it's a constant, but it's just like a backdrop, you could say. So every sound, and we notice the sounds, and we overlook the silence. So every sound arises out of silence, you could say out of emptiness, and then it's there for a while and it disappears back into silence. And it's the same with things. Like everything in the universe, everything arises out of, I don't know, I'm just going to say emptiness, I actually don't know. Everything arises out of emptiness and is here doing its thing for some time, and then it disappears again. And that's going on all the time. So just looking at the wild cherry out there, it's starting to drop its leaves. And at a certain time of year it doesn't have leaves. And then the leaves, the branches start to produce leaves. In the springtime, little leaves come, very bright green, and then they kind of get darker as the summer goes on, and then they start to get yellow, and then they fall. And then they're leaves on the ground for some time, and then at a certain point they're not leaves anymore, they're just earth. And they become nourishment for the tree, and then that's what everything is doing all the time. And somehow in the middle of it all, we take this leaf here, the leaf that we call me and mine, very seriously. And in some ways we need to, because it does matter how we behave and what we do and how we show up in the world and how we relate to ourselves and each other and the earth itself. It matters. And it's just a leaf that's here for a while, and then it's going to pass away. So in a way, it's because of that, it matters more than ever what we do with this precious life. And then on another way, it's not to be taken too seriously. It's always, they're both true. Yeah. So taking time to attune to the space, so like right now in the room here, the space between us and the space around us and the space outside. Just being aware, attuning to the space instead of the people and the objects in the space. So there's a neutrality and a peacefulness to it. And then also attuning to the silence. And I think this can happen at any moment. So obviously it's easier if there's not a lot of noise going on. But just in an ordinary day, while washing the dishes or sweeping the floor or tending the garden or even just while dressing or just in the very ordinary things of a day, one can attune to space or silence. It gives a context within which this whole play of me and mine is going on. And it's unconcerned, uninvolved, unconcerned, untroubled. It's peaceful, spacious, present. So the story of me and mine, the many stories, can get a real strong hold on us. And they come along with lots of feelings, memories, projections into the future, projections about each other. All of that happens. And then there's the silence and the spaciousness. And just when I took a breath there, that moment, it's like, oh, there it is. The spaciousness is right here with the breath. In the lungs, it's just like, there's a spaciousness there. It's right here. So it's just a matter of attuning, learning to attune not only to the many things of the world or to the things that we need to care for in our own body and mind and our relationships, which is important, but also to that which is not any of that, which the Buddha very, very clearly and very carefully doesn't give a name to, doesn't name it as a something. Or even to say it doesn't quite work. So when we allow our attention to settle in the silence and the stillness, things open up and start to reveal themselves. Things we maybe didn't have concepts for, can't have concepts for, start to open up and reveal themselves. And there can also be a kind of a healing and a letting go that happens in that silence and stillness. So I just want to invite you to, all of us actually, to spend a bit of time attuning to those qualities. They are timeless qualities, actually, but just to take some, just to remember that there's not only the things, the thoughts, the feelings, the memories, the perceptions. There's also silence and stillness and space. Spaciousness. And we can experience spaciousness outside of ourselves if we remember to notice. And we can also find it inside. I think this is a very important practice because often we feel very dense. People feel very dense inside, many people, like a thing, a block. And so the perception of this, when we turn towards ourselves, can feel very solid and sort of. I mean, there's a healthy solid that we can experience, like a groundedness. But there can also be a sense of like strong separation, because the sense of this being the edges of this body and the solidity and all of the stories and the things that are shoved in there, and then it all feels a bit hard to be with, and separate. So making space, just inviting a little bit of space inside. Like maybe you could start at the belly. You're sitting in meditation and then being aware of what it feels like to be sitting here, breathing. And then just imagining a little bit of space in the belly. Maybe a little bit of space in the chest. And just you can go through the body, it's making room for some space inside. When we do this, our sort of sense of the body can change a lot. It can feel very, very different to what it actually looks like. And when we make space in this way, we give room for some of the stories to undo, some of the patterns of holding to release. And that might be a peaceful experience, or it might be intense. It might be grieving, shaking. Might be, I need to laugh, run, because it's a letting go and undoing. So the sense of self is very heavy and solid. And the more we're attached to things, the heavier they feel. And the more we let go, the lighter and more spacious and more immediate is our experience. And I want to say that not to be afraid of the unraveling of the story of self. As long as you have the body, you can touch into your body, your breath, the present. And especially if you have a basis of good conduct, morality, there's nothing to fear. It can be quite fun, actually, the undoing. I mean, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it feels there's shame and discomfort, but those are just feelings. You can just feel them. We don't have to be afraid. And they pass. They change. And gradually we make more space inside, just as there is space outside. And the Buddha invites us to pay attention internally, externally, and both internally and externally. So we can do this as we develop a greater spaciousness inside. We can notice that internally, notice that externally. And then when we move between the internal and the external, at a certain point it's hard to tell what's inside and what's outside. There's just this. Just this.